All right, I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting for Monday, April 17th, 2023 to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Capino.
Here.
Trustee Carroll.
Here.
Trustee Curtis.
Here.
Trustee Gately.
Here.
Trustee Lowry.
Here.
Trustee Nedved.
Here.
Trustee Salazar.
Here.
All right, audience comments, trustee comments. Item 1 under discussion, Steve.
Thank you. Item number 1, Mayor, is regarding Orchard Acres. Mike's going to take us through a proposed minor change to the PUD. Mike, would you like to walk us through that, please?
Yeah, the property we're discussing is 2070 West Orchard Road. It's the vacant lot in the Orchard Acres subdivision. If you remember, in 2021, there was a 2-lot subdivision done in the Orchard Acres subdivision. It was on the northwest corner of Oak and Orchard Road, and they subdivided the 2 lots into 4 lots. And what's currently out there right now, you have the Starbucks in the northernmost lot, Taco Bell, this being the vacant lot, and the southernmost lot is the retail building where Verilife received their special use approval. So what we're doing right now is, as part of the Lot 2 options that were presented at that time during petition 2106, there was approval to do either a restaurant with a drive-through or a retail building. Lot 2 has not yet developed. We've recently been approached by the developer asking if they can do an oil change or automotive service business on that property. The use itself, per the Orchard Commons PUD, which is approved in 2007, the use which is being presented tonight is actually a permitted use in that PUD. Typically, motor vehicle service is a special use in all the business districts for the most part, unless identified as part of a PUD. Because this was not presented as an option at that time, we just wanted to bring it before the board as a minor change to give the board the ability to approve the use itself. Because the way we see it, had this been presented back in 2001, it would have been an option that could have been reviewed in the context of the development itself at that time. Again, it is a permitted use, but because it wasn't presented, we're just looking for feedback from the village board right now. If this were to gain some traction, we'd have to come back later at a time for an action ordinance for consideration. So this is just being the preliminary discussions. I'm going to go ahead and allow the developer of Equity to come up and give us a brief presentation.
Thanks, Mike. Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ivan Nokov on behalf of Equity, and I'm here in front of you about this property one more time. Mike described the situation very well and the history of it, so I don't want to waste too much time, but I do want to kind of walk through the approved plans and some of the issues we have had with as far as tenants, as far as the use, as far as access, and so forth and so forth. So last time I was here in front of you, we were basically at least with a restaurant for this property. Unfortunately, the Fed decided to start hiking rates, and this business kind of went a little sideways, so we lost that tenant. We have been looking for a tenant to backfill that space, both restaurant and retail, and we have had a couple of hurdles that basically all of these tenants are coming back with. One of the major issues we're seeing from restaurant groups, especially coming to us, is there is no access on the main road, which we understand that was the situation all along, but they really do have a lot of heartburn about access. And especially with these heavier uses, we do understand that they need to get people in and out of the property. So that is a valid concern. The other issue that we had to deal with is the riding into the actual property that we have from the Madison Street access point. It's a ride-in only, and that's due to a KDOT requirement that dictates basically any access within 150 feet from the intersection to be a ride-in only and no left out. That has also been a major issue with a lot of the tenants, especially restaurant groups who need to have their people exit the property, not through the adjacent properties, but straight into the street. So if you want to switch to the next page, we can take a look at the other site plan. Both of the previously proposed options were very similar. So what we have tried to do is, as part of this development, we have tried to keep the site as close to the approved layout as possible. So we kept the parking spaces where they are, we kept the trash enclosure as it is, we kept all the exterior curb lines pretty much where they were. So what we're asking is to, in essence, open up that drive-through lane that was previously approved. And Strickland Brothers is our concept for this property. they do have a proposed 2-bay drive-through oil change facility here. I'm going to go a little bit more into who they are and what they do in a little bit, but I kind of want to walk through the site plan first. What they do is, in essence, a drive-through oil change. So they pull up to when you pull up to the door opens, you come into the facility, they change your oil, they rotate your tires, change your wiper blades, whatever that may be needed. They open the other door, you drive out of the facility. As I said, 2 bays. They have very little requirement for parking simply because people don't actually even come out of the car. They literally stay in their car while the car is being serviced, and they drive out. The facility has 1 or 2 people servicing those cars at any time. So even the staff is very minimal when it comes to the facility, which is great news for our other tenants who would like to have that overflow parking for their tenants as well. So it's a double win from that aspect. In addition to all of that, we are keeping the building loaded as close as possible to Madison Street. In essence, using where that western facade used to be, we're kind of keeping that same location, pulling the building away from Orchard, in essence. And that has multiple reasons for it, but one of the reasons was we were trying to keep the traffic as far into the site as possible, so it's not on the arterial way. Now, about who the tenant is, they are a national tenant. They are all over the country. They have more than 100 facilities all over the country. And they specialize in under 10-minute oil changes, in essence. And they try to keep people in and out as fast as possible. You have seen many of those concepts out there, like Take 5 and so forth, that have very similar kind of offering. This is similar in that aspect. The way the cars are serviced, there's in essence a pit underneath the car when you drive in. The oil is drained, refilled, and the car drives away. The oil is then siphoned over to a utility room in the back where it's pumped into a cistern, and then that cistern is then pumped every so often whenever the need is for that. They are a national tenant. This is going to be a nationally managed facility for them. So it's taking away some of the liability from local franchisees who may not follow all the standards. So from that aspect, it's a great use. And they are in a growth spur at the moment, basically, and they're growing very, very fast. And it's one of the very few people growing fast at the moment. So we see this as a beneficial use to the community, and also we see this as a way to finish this project, especially given the current market conditions, which with interest rates going up and cap rates going up, it really compresses developers at this point to make anything on these properties, basically. With that, I'll take any questions. We can go to the next page with the elevations. We have, last time we were here about the other buildings, we were asked to match the neighborhood, the stone facades in the residential properties to the back of the neighborhoods. So we have kind of brought that same look to this building. This is a very much an upgraded look for the tenant. They have agreed with it. So they will be, in essence, modifying their prototype, but we have made it so it kind of has, and that's their prototype. So we have kind of forced them to mimic the look of the buildings around them, including to a certain extent the dispensaries right to the south, and even the Starbucks to a certain extent. With that, I'll take any questions.
Is it a Jiffy Lube? Right here. Is it a Jiffy Lube or what is it?
This is Strickland Brothers.
Okay.
There's some information up here, Mark.
Yep, it's right there. So they have over 100 places all around the nation. They're
Are
one
they
of
going to
the,
do any other work besides oil?
they do oil, they change wiper blades,
Okay, so
they
minor
rotate your
things.
tires. Very minor stuff.
So it's called Strickland Brothers. That's the name that would be on the
That's
building?
correct.
Okay. I've
You
not heard
know,
of it.
my concern is to the other tenants. This could possibly have an adverse impact on their location. You've now got a possible, hazardous material location next to 2 food stores. You've got people outside at Starbucks and Taco Bell enjoying dinner with their family. And now you've got cars coming in and out with an oil change. The other thing I'd like to bring up is we've had a real issue on Route 31 with it just being a hodgepodge, just no rhyme or reason, this building, that building. To me, I don't think aesthetically this makes even sense for that location. Now we've just got a hodgepodge of, retail, and now we've got an oil change and a Taco Bell and a Starbucks, and then we've got a high-end restaurant. I don't think it's a good fit. I think we should keep it as we originally had planned it.
I would agree with Laura. If this was proposed originally, I would not have been in favor of the project. The original project I was hoping would be a restaurant. I understood it would have been possibly a retail building, but I absolutely agree with Laura. I don't think that's a good location for something like that. That land over there has been vacant forever. I think we need to be smart about what we allow in here, and being vacant a little bit longer wouldn't bother me if we can get what should fit over there. And I don't think this would be a good fit over there.
Well, I have to say, I agree with the other two trustees. Had this been the idea that was presented in the beginning, I wouldn't have approved it. I don't think it's a good fit for that area. I think that we felt when we approved it that it was going to be, and I understand that the facade will be like the others. I just don't think that is essentially a garage for oil changes really fits with the aesthetic of what's on that corner already.
I agree. I mean, I look at these buildings from my backyard, so I think if parking was an issue, that could have been dealt with when you first presented the PUD. You could have used 3 lots instead of 4, but you tried to squeeze as much in there as you could, and now you've got a problem with parking. But I don't see how that impacts us. I think that I agree with everybody here that the use doesn't fit next to a Taco Bell, marijuana establishment and a Starbucks. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm in agreement with the sentiment of the board, sir. I had some real reservations about an oil place being in amongst all those other types of business facilities. So I'm with the rest of the board who's spoken. I don't know if everyone has agreed or not, but I have some concerns about it.
Mark?
Don't matter. So,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, everybody kind of said it early on, it was restaurant / office space. And I think everybody was okay with that, since we got a couple high-end restaurants at the north end of it, but putting an oil change place, I mean, I agree with everybody else here. That just doesn't fit. And like Trustee Curtis said, it's not a hodge. It would be a hodgepodge setup there, and so I think we're hoping food, some type, like Trustee Carroll said, if the lot size is an issue, it's kind of too late now. Cat's out of the bag, but I guess see what happens. But I just don't see it being viable there. And we had one down the road, a block down. I don't know if it was a Merlin's or
Merlin.
Was it Merlin's? And they did oil and whatever mufflers or things, and they folded. And then the one before them, CarX, they folded. And I don't know if this would be that successful there anyway. So as far as the roadway, you mentioned kind of in and out, but that's how it was when you guys purchased the property. So,
And it was not a concern for us also as far as parking or the access, because we had a tenant in place.
you said to right in, right out on the Oak Street, but I mean, that was that way. So
No. I'm saying the right in into the actual parcel.
you're
right
talking about
where the
Madison
cursor
Street.
is, Madison Street.
Yeah.
So that was not an issue for our previous tenant.
Mhm.
They understood that, they
Yeah.
were fine with it. Parking was not an issue for them as well. Now, since they're out of the picture, it kind of leaves us with,
Yeah. Mhm.
unfortunately,
Steve,
designed.
do you need anything else, or Mike? I'm sorry. 6-0. It's a no go. So
Okay, thank you.
you bet. Item 2, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 2 is an IGA dispatching services, IGA with the city of Aurora. The village currently dispatches our police department through the city of Aurora. We've had a long IGA that really needed to be tightened up and formalized. And a lot of this had to do with the fact that they were putting in a new record management system there, and we were kind of tied into that for a while. But what came out of it was a new IGA in which we're looking to strengthen the language that we had before. And Chief DeLeo is going to walk us through that.
Well, you really stole my thunder in that one. Currently, there is an existing IGA between the village and the city of Aurora for police dispatching services, and it's been in place since 1992. Several years ago, the city of Aurora selected a records management system platform known as Hexagon. The city of Aurora approached staff at that time and provided an opportunity to utilize the system when implemented. In 2016, the village entered into a preliminary agreement to pay Hexagon $72,629 as the village's proportional share of the cost for the building of the platform for the city of Aurora and our future use. About a year ago, the Hexagon system finally went live with the city of Aurora after several years of design and implementation. At that time, the city of Aurora approached the village with a cost to use the Hexagon platform that far exceeded the expectation of staff in 2016. The village and the city of Aurora took the opportunity to draft a new IGA that would better define the costs of dispatching going forward and any potential annual cost to utilize Hexagon's records management platform in the future. Those conversations have resulted in the IGA that has pricing broken up into two tiers. Regarding tier 1, the village currently uses the city of Aurora for police dispatching services and has been more than satisfied with those services. Per the attached IGA, the city of Aurora would charge the village approximately $240,000 the first year, same as current, and pricing may fluctuate each year based on call volume or services needed. For reference, the village budgeted $250,000 for dispatching services in the current fiscal year budget. Regarding tier 2, the cost of moving to Hexagon would be approximately $62,600 the first year. Staff reviewed our current records management system versus the Hexagon system offered by the city of Aurora, and staff believes our current records management system hosted by the Kendall County Sheriff's Office is more cost effective, and not only that, it fits the department's needs more than the one with the city of Aurora. Staff advised the city of Aurora that the village would use tier 1 services, and staff is looking for feedback on the attached IGA.
I think if it's going to be something that's going to help you guys out and better suit your needs, I'm all for it. I just might, do we have an assurance that we'll get the same level of response from them?
Oh, for sure. I think they were just happy. I think we're all in agreement. We joked at we've had several meetings with the city. We joked that basically it seemed like the current IGA was written on a napkin at Tomio's. So now it's better defined. The dispatching services is second to none. And the other thing is being with the city of Aurora, when our officers are tied up, they have firsthand knowledge of the calls being out there and they assist us immediately. So it's like a force multiplier.
And I would say one thing on and that's from the operations standpoint, from the financial standpoint, one of the issues that we've had over the years, and it wasn't an issue per se, but we're always trying to figure out when we're going to get billed and how we're going to get billed because it fluctuates sometimes on call volume. The new IGA kind of tightens that, and it gives us a window of we know exactly when they're going to generate their bills annually. So like what time period we should budget for to make sure that the bills are going to come in. So we know appropriately how to budget for next year's dispatching. So there's that in there. And it also, the other thing too, is this is an ongoing agreement. So it just renews just like the current one does. Basically every year it just automatically renews, but it gives us the ability once a year to look at tier 1 and tier 2. They then come back instead of I'm not saying that they're like a surprise charge or anything, but now you know exactly what the tier that we're getting and it's spelled out very specifically on what our services and what they cost. So every year when we review it with Aurora, they can say, hey, this line item is going to go up a little bit, and we can actually see that line item specifically in their dispatching services. So that'll help us understand the cost change. And we can always go back, even though the IGA right now we're looking to do is just stay with dispatching and keep Kendall County Sheriff as our record management host. We still can go back to Aurora at a different time should that system become the better option. Annually, we'll review that.
No, I'm okay with it. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, sounds like a no-brainer.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Solid reasoning in my point of view.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. All right, I have a motion adjourned. We'll be going to exec session to discuss.
Motion to adjourn to exec session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. All right. Thank you. Be meeting shortly.